if they sledge, we'll give it back to them. And then we already had the taste of UV's 6 sixes before that against, after that Flint.
Stuart Broad lost his
that
voice on that day. Yeah.
I've been playing this game for over a decade now. You got to respect me.
So you got under his skin for sure.
So I started laughing and I finished the over. We finished the next over and I came back and I said to him, you know what? I said, can you live under a rock, I think, because the last I've heard was that respect isn't demanded, it's earned. But I would say a lot of things. In that series, I was feeling at Silly Point. Before the series even started, I said, if they abuse us, we'll abuse them back. We'll fight fire with fire and all. I said some crazy things. I was 21, I just won a World Cup. I felt invincible. Where I thought, you could end all this at the count of 3. Then I was like, I think my conscious mind kicked in and I was like, what are you? And then suddenly I saw myself sitting there and I was like, I got scared. I'm like, why? How am I sitting here and why am I sitting here? Immediately got into my room, closed the window, called my mum up. As tenacious as things were at home, I called my mum up and said, I need you guys here. Something's wrong with me. I need you guys here.
Finally, a cricketer. The reason why we are here is to get some good cricketers sooner or later. Robin Uthappa is with us, one of the hardest hitters of a cricket ball that I've seen. I'm sure he would say there's somebody better than that, but I've seen you hit the ball live at a stadium. My God, he hits the ball hard. But I want to start with one story. In 2008, we were working at this music channel called Matav. And I think, so ITC was very close by the hotel.
Yeah.
So what I would do, I had a deal with the ITC where we'd pay for, we'd get 2 free out of 4, some crap like that. And us cheapos. So when we finished shooting, I'd call the family and we'd have lunch sometimes. So I was going into the ITC, I think we were driving in, you were walking out, you just had a haircut.
Yeah.
And my son was very excited.
Yeah.
Okay, he was this young boy, he was like 5 years old or something, and he was, saw you, recognized you, and you were very nice, you waved to us and you called me by name. Yeah. So my son was very, like, dad, father, very, so that was a good moment.
Yeah, it was 2008, then it must have been when I was playing for Mumbai Indians. Mumbai Indians, the first season. ITC Central, so we stayed there.
But I have this memory, because you said my name, my worth went up in the car.
Oh, wow.
He didn't know what his dad does, and it's just another stupid father, kind of thing. He said, Dada, how does Robin know you? And I was like, it's a long story, man.
It's a long story.
I was really disappointed that I'm not a cricketer. So, what a fail story.
But you did play some cricket growing up.
Robin, don't start that, yeah.
Come on,
it's embarrassing. Call you on a podcast.
Like, these are things that people should know about you, yes.
What do you think? So I called Lata Mangeshkar for a interview, and then she says, "You're also a singer," and then we come on.
No, but you played.
Whatever I say now, I'll look stupid. So now this is a horrible position to be in. Yeah.
No, but as in the interest also comes from the fact that you've actually played it.
Yeah, but failed cricketers, our passion is much more.
See, nobody has failed. I just think that some people chose not to do it earlier because there wasn't a lot of money in it. Like, see, you got to think about it. I'll go a little deep into this whole thing. So basically, I think a lot of, and I've seen a lot of talented cricketers, even in Bangalore growing up, right? A lot of them, even my peers who were a couple of years senior to me, some really exceptional cricketers who gave up because they felt there wasn't a future in the game. And I felt like...
Also, Bangalore traffic.
Well, now
if you can't reach, you can't reach Chinnaswamy on time, you miss the game.
Now Bangalore traffic.
Boss, don't start me off.
I'm the worst person to talk to about Bangalore traffic because I give in to the elements now.
What have you done? That beautiful city.
When
I first started traveling, the best city in India. What have you done?
I've left my beloved city. For me,
you have.
Because it just felt like unfair to the kids to raise them in a place where they spend half their lives in the traffic.
Is that really the reason?
Yeah, genuinely. That was genuinely the reason. Yeah. That was the kicker in the bucket is, our daughter Trinity was going through some challenges immediately after childbirth, and then we had to take her to a chiropractor. So we were taking her to the chiropractor, and then one of the sessions, she had 10 sessions with the chiropractor, and then one of the sessions with the chiropractor, this clinic is 3.5 kilometers away from where I live. Okay, it took me 45 minutes to get there. And okay, fine. And then it took us an hour and a half to get back. And we planned it in a way where we felt like, okay, it'll take about 2.5 hours, including the 1 hour of therapy of being there. And then we'll be back in 2 hours. So we planned for such. So the milk we carried was for that amount of time. We were on the road for 4.5 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we were like, what the heck? And I was like, that's it. I was like, listen, we got to figure something out. We can't.
Really? That was the moment?
That was the moment. That was the kicker in the bucket for me. I was like, I'm done.
Just go for therapy like everybody else.
No. I can tell you, Cyrus.
Boss, you're talking to the right guy. I can't. This is the most frustrating thing. Go on.
I can tell you. And I say this with utmost humility that today, now that we live where we live, the amount of space we have in our head because on a day-to-day basis, we're not dealing with the stress of traffic.
Also, he's in Dubai, by the way. We'll get to that.
I live in Dubai, by the way, and people know about
this.
No,
but the thing is, because I give my Dubai experience, you guys can actually plan to the dot.
Yeah.
Like the GPS is what it is.
Yeah.
Everything is like to the dot. You literally say, I'll meet you in 11 minutes at the gym, and in 11 minutes you're there, right? So that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I remember being stuck in traffic, going back to the airport, and I'm asking the driver because he suddenly seems worried there's some message and all that. And he said, what happened? And he said, good, accident ahead. So I said, oh God, is it going to be a problem? So he said, no, there'll be a delay. So I said, how much delay? He said, sir, 7 minutes. I said, what are you saying? A piece of comedy, man.
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where you guys are in Dubai.
Like genuinely, it just feels like you have that much more space in your head to do things, even say laterally. Like you can think laterally. You can entertain certain thoughts.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because we get so frustrated and caught up in the traffic that it becomes your world.
Yeah, it does.
You can't have normal thoughts.
And when Sheets and I have actually discussed this. My wife and I actually have discussed, like, shit, we have so much time to think about so many more things today. There's space in our head.
Wow.
And you don't really experience it when you live here. You got to get out of here to actually experience it. And people, people think of Dubai as expensive and touristy.
But you have to have a job.
There's nothing cultural. Yeah. Sure, you have to have a job, right? You do, but you have some of the best education in the world there.
Yeah.
50 of the best schools in the world.
Quite the global village.
There are 190 nationalities there.
Wow.
190. So my son goes to a school where he's got 24 kids in his class, and there are 19 nationalities.
How many?
19 nationalities.
Out of 24?
Out of 24.
What happened to all the Indians?
Very few. So there are Indians.
Is that why you moved?
No. Absolutely not. I have my Mallus there to keep me company.
That's true. Yeah.
So and Gujaratis and Sindhis. Yeah. We have people of from every diaspora.
Just not enough, huh? Take them. Huh.
But yeah, and so for us, we were like, okay, what do we want to do for our kids as parents, right? And the thought was, okay, we want to what we can give them is, one is we want to give them confidence. We want to give them solid primary education. I'm not big on education, but I know that solid primary education...
Highly overrated when you read about some startup guy making 500 crores who's a 9th standard dropout.
Correct.
Terrible, sad.
So I'm big on primary education. I think you need to have that the initial...
First to 10th?
Yeah, no, primary, not secondary.
Like first, second, third, what?
First to 5th standard. First to 5th.
Bro, you're the ideal father. Every kid will be like, I want him as dad. 5th standard, graduate.
Because I'll tell you why. As in today, as I do a lot of, I study and upskill myself consistently.
Study as in professional studies or study for yourself?
No, for myself. And so the work that I do today, I'm a certified life coach, and I've just set up my own company and I'm in the process.
We'll come to all that.
We'll come to all that when we do. But with that, I keep trying to upskill myself. I keep trying to learn different things and learn a lot more about parenting, and because it's a genuine interest of mine. And we are very conscious parents in the sense that even with our relationship, we're very conscious about how we navigate through it, because we know the impact it has on kids, and the first 6-7 years of a child's life sets them up for how their life is going to be.
So the personality is developed by 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah, by 7 you set them up for life. So we're very conscious about how we navigate even through our relationship with the kids, right? So everything with the kids is very conscious. So we're like, okay, what do we want to instill the kids with in the first 7 to 10 years of their lives? So we were like, okay, confidence. We don't want them to be intimidated by any color of skin. We want them to feel confident in their own skin, and we want them to have knowledge of or grasp of at least 2 or 3 languages, because that will keep them in good stead. And then
but there's Google Translate.
Yeah, there is, but
I mean, you can go to Japan and you're comfortable.
Not necessarily. I was just there in Hong Kong, and it wasn't the most comfortable thing.
Really?
As in if you don't know the language, because I'm very fascinated by. Okay, we're digressing, but I'm very fascinated. I'm very fascinated by biohacking, right?
Okay.
So I look at plant medicine, I look at herbs.
Oh, you're scaring me, huh?
Yeah,
this is Uthappa I see hitting the ball out of the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Is not the same guy. He's into biohacking and
Yeah, I'm not the same guy.
Not the same guy.
That's a facade, bro.
Yeah, man. You switch personality, is it, when you leave the pitch? Huh?
So. I'm into biohacking massively. I'm like, okay, how can we maximize human potential through herbs, through plant medicine?
Wow.
Right? So I went into a medical store there, and I can see reishi mushrooms there. I can see cordyceps mushrooms there.
This is for the brain fog, right?
Yeah. So for the brain, how do you optimize the brain?
See, I also know a little bit about the biohacking.
So how do you optimize the brain? So how do you optimize your mind? How do you optimize your body? Through herbs that are available. And so Chinese medicine, or the Chinese didn't lose a lot to history because of through invasions or all of that, right?
Correct.
They were able to hold on to their
systems are in place.
systems in place,
Yeah.
or their medications, or their herbal, or their ingrown kind of systems
Their
in place.
TikTok.
All of that. They were able to hold on to that. We as a country weren't able to hold on to it because we lost the
We had
Takshila.
a Unani system of medicine and all that.
Yeah, but we lost all of that to
Is it?
all the invasions through the north, right? Most of our universities, the Nalanda and the Takshilas, were all in the north. So, when the invasions kept happening, I may be off by a bit here, but I remember that the Takshila University, the Nalanda University, was set on fire, and it burnt like a raging fire for 3 months because of a king who came here and who fell ill, apparently. I can't remember his name. It was one of
Let's
the...
call him Bunty.
one of the
just give a
Turkish
common
kings who
name.
came here, and he was ill, and then his seers couldn't heal him, and then so he was like, okay, the seers kind of reached out to the Indian healers, and then they gave them something that healed him, and he got really upset, and he set the university on fire or something.
What? But if they healed him...
But that was a story. I think Mota, that's a story.
Turkey is a little different today.
Yeah.
Far more hospitable.
So basically, we've lost a lot of our culture and a lot of our medicine.
What about the Ayurvedic stuff and all?
All of that's all of that has been passed down, but there's no system that's kind of centralized it. And I really hope it gets centralized, because I hope this government, and they're so big on the movement of our culture and of our history. I really hope that they kind of centralize the system, because there's a lot of benefit. Like if you go to the south, there's huge, like you go to Kerala, and the Arya Vaidishala has massive plant medicine and benefits from there.
Which dates back.
Works, which dates back to like 2,500 years before.
There is this one fantastic gentleman, I know you may have heard of him, Baba Ramdev. He's got these products in place, and a lot of it is based on studies. It's a mix and match of Western medicine and...
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And so for me, I don't think it's still centralized. I don't think it's run by a central entity. Like in China or in Japan or in Hong Kong, like wherever I was for the Hong Kong, I was in Hong Kong. So there you could see that there was a system in place. There's a doctor in the pharmacy who can...
So this is a medical doctor? This is a doctor of their medicine who's...
A doctor of their medicine who can prescribe you based on... based on what the needs are. And for me, it was a massive challenge there when I went there. I was like, hey, I want to kind of get, I'm looking at the mushrooms that I know that...
He'll point to your brain, right?
Powder
something like that. No. Universal language.
So I tried to...
Or is it that they don't want to talk in English or whatever?
No, they couldn't.
Or they can't,
like,
or
no
they don't
English,
want to.
no
Sometimes
English.
there's this aggression towards, I won't speak English.
No, they just genuinely... They knew, they wanted business, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, sorry, no English. Then like, okay.
How sad.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, so you had to leave. So there are challenges that you face outside of India, But so I wanted the kids to learn like a few languages, so that, and I know about 6 Indian languages.
Really?
Yeah. So I speak. So
You're Kurgi, you're also Malayali, right?
Half Malayali.
Yes, so you speak 2 languages there straight.
Yeah, so mum's Mallu, dad's Kurgi. So there's Malayalam, Kurgi, there's Kannada, there's Hindi, there's Tamil.
Hindi, Tamil also you picked
and then
up?
There's English,
Excellent.
Tamil, dad used to watch a lot of Vadivel comedy.
Yeah.
So we used to watch a lot of that. And then, in the process of watching that, my watchman was a Tamilian. And then the minute you pick up Malayalam...
This is not night watchman. This is actual watchman.
Yeah. Our watchman at our apartment was a Tamilian. So I would speak to him. And with him, he was kind enough for me to allow me to make my mistakes, and he would correct me.
In a gentle way.
Yeah, I was very sweet about it. So I would get corrected, and then you learn along the way, and then you listen. So I can speak to survive.
So Indian team, you must be one of the main guys. You can talk to anybody about anything at any point.
Yeah.
One of the middle messenger boys.
Yeah. One of the linguists in the side.
Yeah.
And I lived here for about 3, 4, 5 years, so I understand Marathi.
What are you saying?
Part. Yeah.
Tuji aichi go? Got it?
Yes.
Come on. Don't worry, watchman is good here as well.
I'll just say, if it's getting too much for me, I'll say Mala maitne.
That's the best one. That's the best one. It's good with girls.
Works.
I use it in the
There
bed.
was a time.
It's a bedroom talk, yeah. Yeah. Hey, bro, we have to talk a little bit about your cricket career as well. A very interesting second innings that seems to be have cropped up, and we have to get into that whole side why you're there. So, but let me talk about your cricket, because for those people who saw you play cricket from 2005, I think you played for India for the first time? 6, yeah. I think you got 80 odd in your first innings, if I remember correctly. And this one thing I had an observation, I just talked to my cricket crazy friends about when you came to bat, is I find a very, and you're right-handed, But I find a lot of Lara, not so much in the batting, because you're very powerful and a powerful hitter, and you hit from, like, you like to get that center of gravity in your style of batting. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, he was a little bit more the buccaneer on the square on both sides. But when you're on the non-strikers end, it's like Lara, the body language, the mannerisms. When you exit, when you're out, it's like Lara walking. When you're walking in, it's like Lara walking in. Am I wrong?
I've never.
You got to watch your own videos.
No,
Bro, the body language is like Brian Shaw's Lara.
Yeah?
Yeah. The batting, the stroke making is a little different because he's little bit more wristy, and it's difficult to explain. You're more power based,
Correct.
At least you were initially.
I was going for Vivian Richards. I've landed on Lara, so I won't complain.
Not bad, not bad at all.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I was always going for Vivian Richards. I always tried
but
to have.
the leg would cock up to the same side, and I can't explain it to you. I just know because
you're
I'm
not the
cricket
first
crazy.
person telling me this
See?
about Lara.
See? In the mannerisms, it's there. It might have been subconsciously, imbibed.
Yeah, but maybe.
But fantastic.
Yeah, my inspiration was always Sachin Tendulkar, and after a point, it was Vivian Richards, man. As in, to this
I'm
day,
a huge Viv Richards fan. My
when
favorite.
I met him, I love Sir Viv, and I've literally tried to imitate him everywhere that I can. I try and I've even slowed my walk down to the wicket.
Yeah,
to
he would
to
do
seem
that.
a lot more like him.
Make eye contact with the bowler.
Be a little bit more lackadaisical.
Can I show off? You asked me about cricket. I used to do the same thing.
Yeah,
so I could do the whole mimicry of Viv Richards all the way up to the wicket. The only problem is after that, nothing. But right, I did. He would stretch the hamstrings. There's a certain way he grips the bat, and then his legs go back. The chewing, and the slowness is almost predatorial. He'll slowly look up, and then he sort of looks at the bowler, which most batsmen don't do in a certain let's play.
But you know what he used to do?
Yeah.
Before in test matches, he'd actually get ready, pad up, and he'd go to sleep.
Really?
So he'd wake up when the wicket, he'd ask someone to wake him up.
Yeah.
He'd wake up, wash his face, and then just walk in a bat.
West Indian, man. It's a different
Those
world.
guys are something else, man.
You can't argue with the figures.
No, you can't. And when you think about it from a cerebral point of view, it's like you're
relaxed.
You're
as an artist,
completely relaxed. Yeah. You're not thinking about what needs to be done. You're
in that
conserving
state,
your energy.
and then you go. Yeah.
You go in, and then so when you're getting ready, when you're washing your face, yes, you're waking yourself up, but then the adrenaline starts pumping. Because you're getting into action right now. So you have the right amount of adrenaline running in as well. Running through your system as well.
Yeah.
And then you go there, and if you can slow things down, which is what he actually did. If you go into the nuances of it, he did everything almost
I think
perfectly.
he makes the time his.
Yeah.
The time which is taken by the fielding side, it's brought back to him just by his body language.
And psychologically, what a massive advantage that is, Cyrus. Because you're going in there, you haven't played a ball. Can I cuss?
Please.
But you haven't played a ball, but you're telling the bowler, you're on my fucking time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's very intimidating.
That is huge. That's massive.
I just love watching him walk into the wicket.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like poetry,
incredible, man.
You're just seeing, it's like a movie.
Very
that's going
few
on.
people who could do that, who could, bring you that sense of dominance even before a ball has been played. Matthew Hayden was another guy who could do that.
Yeah.
But
for me, Viv is Viv. I have no disrespect to Matthew, but I'm with the cross will be bouncing off his broad chest and his muscular. Okay, I'll sound a little gay here. Muscular thighs, strong forearms.
With
the wristband and just the cap, huh? Robin, just the cap.
I was just playing a tournament here in the US recently, and he was the mentor of the another team, and he was staying one room across me.
Wow.
Right, and he's still so fit, man.
And very pleasant when I finally got to meet him.
To interact with.
He's King Viv, I was so intimidated to see him close up. But
so
really
the first
nice.
time I met him on that trip, I was like, how you, sir? And I call him sir.
Yeah.
Like, how you, sir?
You're an Indian.
Yeah. So, and I was like, I'm a massive fan, and I don't think he recognized me. And he's like, thank you, and
Oh, you wanted him to say massive fan too?
No. Like
you might.
You'd
you
imagine that you'd hope that your idol knows who you are.
Yeah.
Forget appreciating who you are, just even knows you and recognizes you. Because we'd actually interacted on Instagram, so I don't know if I interacted with him or his team.
Right.
So my interaction with him on Instagram itself was like, I sent him, I wished him happy birthday, and he responded to me, and I was like, wow, my hero is messaging me back.
No, but see,
it's like Muhammad Ali messaging me back too.
Absolutely.
For me, I would hold Sir Viv and Muhammad Ali.
Did you ask him?
Huh? What's that?
When you get to talk to him, do you ask him, are you Instaing me? Are you DMing?
Oh, no, I didn't ask him. That would be
Damn,
impolite, you know.
damn.
I felt it would be impolite. So, but then a day later, he was like, he came to me himself. He's like, man, I love how you play, man. I love how busy you are. You know, you mean like it seems like when you're going in there, you're going there to do business.
Can you do the accent, the Antiguan accent?
No, I
Hey
can't.
man, I love how you play, man.
Yeah. No, I'd do the Jamaican accent. If I'm
That's a
doing it.
longer
Yeah,
drawl.
it's a longer drawl.
Hey man,
Yeah.
can
man.
you try and teach me the Jamaican accent, man?
Yeah, man. You know, they do that.
God, they sound like Mowalis from Mumbai.
Yeah, they do. If they don't agree with you, they'll just do.
Yeah, man. Ikremas.
And
Wow.
like Andre Russell will be like, you'll be having a conversation with him, and he'll be like, say something that he disagrees with. He'll be like, no, man. I don't think so, man. I don't agree with you, man. You know, like he won't look at you, but he'll just look everywhere and say no.
I don't think you want to disagree with that guy. He's built like a tank.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah.
He's intimidating only on the ground.
No,
Off the field,
I
he's
got
a
to interview
sweetheart.
him last year with KKR. You had left the franchise, but
I saw that. It was quite nice, actually.
He was great fun.
Yeah,
and so was Sunil Narayan. He doesn't talk and all. He is
Sunil
so
was
naughty, actually.
Most comfortable when, like, he is most himself when Gigi is around, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I think, like, his experience of KKR when he came into the side, I think it was in 2012
because he brought him
when
in.
Gigi was
Yeah,
captain.
correct.
And then
maybe that's it. Yeah.
And then he was there, like they played together till 2017, and then when Gigi left, and then when Gigi came back, obviously he came back and made sure
that he's comfortable.
He was made to feel like the match winner that he is, and so he went out of his way to speak for Sunil, and then you can see how Sunil reposed that faith that was put on him.
Fantastic tournament. Why didn't he play for the West Indies in the T20 World Cup?
Bro, there's a
issue?
lot that's going on in West Indies cricket.
There's some issues, right?
Yeah,
I know the
people
bowling
don't
action and they didn't help him and etc. But
no, so the whole bowling action thing, it was all KKR, man. It was all Venki Mysore, KKR.
Yeah.
They've all really they bent over backwards, and Gautam Gambhir and all these guys really bent over backwards to help him with the navigation of coming back to bowl. And they've actually helped him quite a bit. So I think
but why
West Indies cricket at that point, there's a lot that's going on. I may not, have all the information, but I know that a lot of non-cricketers perhaps are
so there's politics which he couldn't handle.
Yeah, I think.
In short.
Yeah, and then also what they get paid, in West Indies cricket compared to, even though it's got such a massive rich history, what they get paid is very less compared to
the other big teams.
Yeah. I think the best payers across boards, I think, are India, Australia, England. That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
New Zealand should be paid a lot because,
but they paid a little lesser. But they should be paid
They should be there. I mean.
But also is because they're
what's your take on that, Robin? Well, are we not able... Everybody's talking about how we can't play spin. Okay. Is this correct?
Yeah, it is. Think about it. Because there's so many aspects to this, right? We'll speak for 5-6 hours, Cyrus, if we have to get into it. But let's get into it for the next 15 minutes. Let's get into it, right? So let's go with domestic cricket. So what's happening with domestic cricket over the last 10 years? And I've played it over the last, say, 15 years. I've played for the last 12 years. The last 3 years I haven't played. From 2021 I haven't played. So in the last 15 years of domestic cricket that's happened, ideally, more often than not, the wickets that have been encouraged by the neutral curators and the board has been to prepare wickets that will enable cricketers to play cricket outside of India really well.
So more sporting wickets is what you're saying?
Not sporting wickets, pace-friendly wickets.
Oh, so we didn't. The turners are less and less?
Like, there are next to no turners.
How?
And if there are turners prepared, those games get over in 2.5 days. Because there are ranked
But our boys in Mumbai, Kotian and what's the other fellows, Mulani, they're all doing really well. He just got a 5 in the last Ranji game and all that.
Correct. So okay, again, we'll get into that. Let me finish this bit and I'll get into that bit.
Yeah.
Because that bit, there's a thing to that as well. So wherever they make spin-friendly wickets, for example, in Kerala, they make a lot of spin-friendly wickets and those games get over in 1.5 days, 2 days sometimes. And
so visiting team can't bat whichever part of India.
Yeah. So it's like gets really hard for visiting teams. But in those games, because cricket's played slightly differently now compared to, it's not played more conventionally, it's played more unconventionally.
True.
Now, the unconventional cricket that we grew up playing, we grew up not playing, has become the conventional cricket that is played.
That's true.
Today.
That's a great observation. Yeah.
Right? So now that's the way cricket's played.
Yeah.
Now, You have to have someone...
With no demarcation between red and white ball.
Yeah. There's no demarcation.
Yeah.
It's just played the same
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
Now, when you can't play cricket the same way when it's red and white ball, because it's the way the ball behaves is just drastically different. Now, unless you acknowledge that and say, okay, for this version of the game or for this ball, you need to approach the game slightly differently. You need to be a little bit more technically correct. You need to be a little bit more circumspect. Yes, you need to have aggressive players in your lineup, but you can't have all aggressive players in your lineup. If you can have them if they're flexible, to the extent that if they have a solid defense to spin bowling.
Attritional batting as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
You need to have both sides of the coin. You can't have just one side of the coin and say, okay, this is how we're going to play, right? So we haven't prepared technically over the last 15 years to play spin bowling well in domestic cricket. So the players coming up the ranks are guys who are playing seam bowling well.
The senior guys, without taking names?
Yeah, even the senior guys.
They're just out of practice.
Yeah, they're out of practice. Like if they did, for example, what Rachin Ravindra did, I had the time to do what Rachin did.
Yeah.
I had, to
prepare.
the
130.
Yeah. You would have.
He went and practiced
CSK.
Yeah.
But if they invested that kind of time before the series when they're playing on turners.
But we played against Bangladesh 2 games and there was no problem. We won a game in 1.5 days.
Yeah, but then the quality of spinners are also different. No?
Are you seriously telling me that Shakib and Taijul Islam and all are not as good as Ejaz Patel?
Like it's not fluke that he got 10 wickets in a game.
No, okay, I'm not. That's not demeaning him.
Yeah,
but he's not exactly like Bishan Singh Bedi or Prasanna.
As in say the personality is not like the skill level could be there and thereabouts. You can't say Bishan it would be incorrect to compare a current player of today's generation to Bishan Singh Bedi or a Prasanna, because like if a bowler tossed the ball up as much as Prasanna or Bishan Singh Bedi did.
Yeah, it's a different game altogether.
Like, just think about it. Yeah. And how did the Sandeep Patils of the world come to be known? Because the minute they saw the ball that much high, they were like, bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's how they came to the limelight. Now, that was called courageous cricket then. That is called normal cricket today.
True.
So it's apples and oranges.
What about reading the spinner, especially the leggies and things like that? Are we not reading anymore? Because we were the famous. Yeah, because you could tell from the wrist position, you could tell from the finger position.
Yeah, you because we're not doing that as often.
You read the spinners. Up to your generation, they read the spinners.
Yeah, and even Rohit and Virat and all of these guys, right? Growing up, they read spin really, really well. Now, after a point, spin bowling has also changed now. Yeah. You're not giving in the
everybody's Jadeja.
Yeah, you're bowling flatter trajectories. Yeah. You're bowling into the wicket. So
no point looking at the hand.
The one that turns. So ideally, on turning tracks as a batter, you want to play more for the straight ball than for the ball turning. Because if you play in front of the pad, which people have actually forgotten, that is the most basic.
That's our 80s cricket.
It's the most basic thing. Your bat has to be your first line of defense. Yeah. Your pads have to be the second line of defense. Now, in this whole test series, we saw everyone batting with the bat and pad together, including Virat and including Rohit. Now, if you can just get that slightly ahead, you'll be mitigating damage by 30-40%. Right? Then you're worried only about the ball. Then you play with softer hands and you try and get on top of the ball and smother the ball down. Right? Ideally, that's how we're taught to play spin. Right, so you play on ranked turners, or you play on basically. Now we'll get to Tanush Kotian or Shams Mulani, right? Both of these kids are playing on tracks on the western belt of India.
The red soil.
Now, how many wickets have red soil in India?
Not sure, but at least, as you said, the western area.
I'll tell you,
Gujarat?
Mumbai, Gujarat, Goa to a certain extent, Karnataka not at all right now.
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu.
Well, you gave us 46 all out, so guys. Karnataka.
Not by turners.
I know, but I mean, you did your thing.
Karnataka.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Kerala and Tamil Nadu, 2 places that have red soil.
So about 4 of the big centers.
Maybe to a certain extent.
Nothing in the north.
Nothing in the north. Everything is black in if you look at that part, you go to a central part of India, it's more brown.
But has this always been the case?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. It's not, they would always have red soil wickets, but the reason they don't use red soil wickets anymore is because it's more expensive to maintain. It takes a lot more water. The way you prepare red soil wickets are very, very different.
So the spinners are only in this area now, in these 3-4 areas that you mentioned.
Yeah, because then there's purchase for spin. There's purchase for the effort you put into the ball, right? Look at where the spinners are turning up from also. Tamil Nadu,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Akshar Patel's from where? Jadeja's from where?
Correct.
The western part of
Yeah.
India. Look at where the spinners are coming up from, right?
True.
So then you know that, okay, these are the spinners. So
But this is, I mean, you talk about your life, but quickly before we go to break, a little embarrassment that we get outspun literally by New Zealand. No disrespect to a country of 5 million people, but the worry is that have we actually gone backwards when it comes to playing spin and etc. And what's the next step?
Yeah, I think so.
So what's the next step?
Next step is
Nathan
to
Lyon
actually,
and gang will come and then
is to actually encourage playing Ranji Trophy on spin tracks. If you want to develop, if you want to win home series, and that's the advantage India always had, right?
Yeah.
Like by day 3, day 4, day 5, you have to play on turning tracks.
The England series at the corner of the year, the beginning of the year, I mean, after the first test, we sort of wiped them out in 2 days.
Correct.
So what happened there?
So even there, if you saw...
But their spinners did put up a fight.
Exactly. In the sense, we were more than put up a fight, I would have to say, we still didn't... We just about managed to survive, because those were not high-scoring games.
True,
We were also we were all out for 125,
when I think of it, you're right.
150.
Yeah.
Like now, when you're playing at home on turning tracks, you have to have the ability to score at least 250 runs. As a batting unit.
And bat first.
Yeah. And even if you bat second, you have to have the ability and the skill to get 250 runs.
Yeah.
Like if you can, and then 250 is doable on a turning track. And there is a method to the madness of scoring runs on turning tracks. You have to be gear 0 or gear 4. You can't do gear 2, 3, 4.
So coming back to Wankhede, before we go to break, chasing 130 odd or 140 odd last innings, was it doable or not? Because the wicket was turning.
It was
and
doable.
There was bounce. And
it wasn't vicious, Cyrus. It was normal.
So it's our technique and our lack of practice on these wickets and our home conditions has caused us to.
And see, you have to look at the whole macro perspective of the whole thing also, right? How much time does India have to prepare? India is playing cricket through the year, yeah.
Everywhere.
And why do India play cricket through the year?
Because we run the business. We need India everywhere.
No, so the world needs India.
That's
everywhere.
what I mean. Yeah.
You know, the other
you
nations
need us, world.
Yeah. At this point, it's set up in such a way where the world needs to play against us for them to even make money, because they get the most viewership from us. We bring in the most viewership. We bring in the most TRPs.
So we sacrificed our home conditions in a sense.
In a sense, and which we shouldn't do, which is where I'm like,
but how the hell did New Zealand bat a little bit better than us?
The commitment to the preparation. They had the time to prepare.
That the underrated fellow was that Will Young.
Yeah.
I mean,
what did he
do? He batted.
Correct.
He played balls.
Look, go back and see what he did. Defended in front of the pad.
Absolutely.
Played more on the back foot. Right, scored runs off his back foot.
Yeah.
What did Rishabh Pant do in the last innings?
I was a heart attack watching it. Yeah,
but he played only on the back foot. It was either back foot or he stepped out and played. That's how you play spin bowling.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So you try not to play spin bowling on the front foot.
Robin, this is why I didn't make it the Indian team. I've been playing on the front foot. Yeah. I would have played for India. Damn it.
Correct.
I just scored the runs. Okay.
You met me 20 years too late, bro.
Damn. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll talk more about Robin.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus chats with Anirban Bhattacharya about his dynamic career from producing Saudhan India and voicing Disney Pixar films to writing true crime hits like The Deadly Dozen and India's Money Heist. On Century of Stories India, Kunal shares the story of how 7 women with a small loan and a big vision founded Lichat Papad in 1959. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam Gupta sits down with Mahavir Chopra to unpack some of the biggest issues in insurance today with some essential tips for filing claims. On The Compounding Mindset, Ashton Doctor discusses how to protect gains in a fluctuating market, emphasizing the power of patience and offering tips for staying steady during periods of volatility. Folks, if you like our show, spread the word. Tell your friends and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You'll also find all our shows on YouTube by their show name, so do look out for them and have fun watching. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: IDFC First Bank, Axis Mutual Fund, SBI Mutual Fund.
Well, I've only done scratching. It would like to present it as an Olympic sport. But yeah, welcome back to our show. Robin's still with us. Robin, let's talk about your career.
Sure.
We're like two cricket lovers now discussing cricket and going beyond. This is about you. So you made your debut. I think I'm trying to remember. It was the highest score by a debutant.
Yeah, it was,
at the time.
Yeah, it was.
And so one internationals, and then we go all the way into the 2007 World Cup, which put you on another level. Because I still remember that cap thing. I mean, everybody remembers who's seen that little flamboyance that you had. But more importantly than your batting, I think you made runs against Pakistan, crucial game. But was that wicket, that bowl out? I love that bowl out concept.
Yeah, man.
Do you remember?
I'm actually trying to, promote it a little bit in the sense that I'm like, we're playing Super Sixes and we're playing a lot of T10 cricket.
Yeah.
So I'm like, in that version of the game, instead of having a super over, have a bowl out.
Yeah.
Makes it more interesting,
it's
right?
More interesting.
Makes it more viewer friendly, right?
Yeah.
It's like it never happens in cricket. You might as well kind of try it. If there's a tied game, do a bowl out.
But coming back to that, it's such a odd decision. Not odd decision, but it's against the run of the game in a sense that why would Robin be given the bowl out? What was the behind the scenes thing there?
So,
who are the others? Harbhajan.
Bajupa, Virender Sehwag, Virubai.
So that's Viru as well. Okay, bowled a little off spin, but
me, Irfan, and Srishant. So 5.
So
bowlers.
leave the bowlers aside. Why you and Viru?
So what we would do before the World Cup began, we were there for about 3-4 days before.
You were practicing this?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
You didn't know? We practiced this quite a bit.
You practiced the bowl out?
Yeah. So basically,
and you guys were good at it?
Yeah. So that's why we were really excited after the game got tied, because we knew exactly what was going to happen.
The real skill now.
Pakistan had no freaking clue.
What are you saying?
They had no clue. They thought they were also really happy. Match tied. We didn't lose to India in a World Cup. But we knew that there was a bowl out happening.
Yeah.
They didn't know. And then suddenly there's a bowl out happening. And suddenly you see them huddling together. You give the Pakistanis time to think.
Yeah.
and then they implode.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
they didn't have a clue about this whole process?
No, they didn't. They had no idea. They didn't read the playing conditions, which is what we did. We had a South Indian in the side. Maybe two South Indians. We had Robin Singh and we had Venkatesh Prasad, who read the playing conditions.
Studied and came to
So they read the playing conditions and then they said, you know what? Let's practice this, because if this happens, we need to be semi-prepared for it. So during the warm-ups, we generally play a game, and we had warm-up games. So we'd finish the warm-up games with batters versus bowlers. We'd have a bowl out, and in the bowl outs, the guys who hit it the most were Virubai, Rohit, and me. In batters.
Oh, is it more than the bowlers? No, the genuine bowlers.
Yeah, and the batters would win more than the bowlers.
What are you saying?
Yeah.
What is the reason? That's odd.
Because the bowlers are so used to hitting
off length,
top
some
of
length, top
slightly
of
outside off stump, fourth stump line. They're so used
and
to
there's
hitting.
pressure on them because now they have to perform. You guys give a flying F, knock it down.
So I was one of those guys. Me and Virubai were one of the guys who hit it very often, and so was Rohit, one of those guys as well. But Rohit wasn't playing the game that day.
Correct.
So it was just me and Virubai. So I went straight up to Mahi and I said, "Listen, bro, I have to bowl."
Yeah.
So he kind of looked at me and said, "Okay," and literally just looked at me and said, "Okay, fine, you bowl." And today, when I think of it in hindsight, it must have been like.
But you seem to be completely nerveless.
Yeah, I was.
I can remember the whole thing, and you look like you were having you're at a party or you're one of these charity games where you're just completely having a good time, beer in your hand or something.
It's confidence, Cyrus. Like I'm telling you, like when I look back at it, right? If you're confident in your ability and don't doubt it, and just go through the experience joyfully, the chances of you succeeding are so much more than you going through it like, will it happen, will it not happen? Then you're holding back it on some level. Like if you feel confident about something, just back yourself to do it and just have fun while you're doing it. Whether it works or not, it does not matter. And then I got to give a lot of props to Mahi at that point in time. His first time leading a side, right? It's his first game leading a side.
Right.
And here comes a 22-year-old or 21-year-old to him saying, dude, I have to bowl. I'm going to hit the stumps.
With 4 other bowlers waiting.
And then there are senior players who not come up to him even, right? Or there's other players who've not even come up to him perhaps. So he was like, okay, here's a youngster who's coming to me, who's confident in his own ability and saying, okay, I'll bowl. I'll back that.
So Pakistan has been laughing. Uthappa or Virubai ko bulaya. Thinking, these people don't understand the game. Ye bowler ka game hai. Yeah.
Yeah, we just had fun.
They played all their bowlers, by the way.
Yeah, all their bowlers.
Yeah.
One of the I think this, okay, you give, like I said, if you give Pakistanis time to think, they implode.
Yeah.
I just played the Hong Kong Sixers and came back, right? And Pakistan apparently won that 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Okay, and India won it once or something. So like, how come Pakistan won it so much? And then we played against them, and some of the quality players came. Some of the players who played for Pakistan, all those guys who were in the fringe of playing for Pakistan, all of them came. Then I realized that, hey, these guys, and even say the other countries like Oman, UAE, all of these guys, when they don't have time to think, they just come out there, back themselves, and give everything.
Natural instinct.
Natural instinct take over. The minute you give them a little time to think, they implode. Because they start second guessing themselves.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen. You don't have the time for that to happen in
But don't you
Super
feel
Sixes.
that this is closest to a penalty shootout? I don't know if you're a footy fan, but the bowl out was like the shootout for me.
Yeah, of course.
And I felt that you'd be sitting there and you're waiting. It's a 1 second deal because does he hit the wicket or not? Other than the super over being 10 minutes of fear. But this, I think it's a whole different sort of lottery going on.
Yeah, it is. And it's fun, yeah. And it's
What was that all about? The
I
bow?
just came instinctively.
Yeah, it was
So
beautiful.
I
think I psyched out the opposition for the big final. Yeah.
It was my celebration anyway. After I took a catch, I would just like
Yeah,
every time I took a
you
catch
did
in the
that,
boundary
yeah.
line, I'd turn around and just take a bow to the crowd. And so I was like, okay, like it just came instinctively. I did it towards MS, thinking, okay, I'm thanking him, and the crowd's behind him. And then I heard the roar from behind there. I'm like, okay, I'll do it in this direction. I heard a roar from this side. Then I turned aside, like, okay, let me just do.
We guys are easy to please, bro.
Yeah, we are.
Drop your hand. Crowd thinks you're special. Yeah. No, but it was a tingling feeling.
I never imagined at 22 or 21 that something I did then instinctively would be etched in the hearts.
It's an iconic moment of sport.
Of Indian cricket fans for posterity. Yeah. And it's not stuff that you can make up.
When they do the World Cup, 2007 World Cup picture, it'll be called 2007, of course. Kabir Khan has already started work. This will be one of the big moments.
Yeah.
The actor playing Robin Uthappa.
Oh, is it? I didn't know this movie being made.
I'm talking rubbish.
But how wasn't I called? I'm looking the part right now.
They have to pay you. You're all real life people. They can't just, they have to pay you. Remember that, huh? It's a payday coming. 100% they'll make the film at some
They
point.
should.
Yeah.
They should. Because
Yeah.
I think it's a fascinating story. They should make
Well, between that and the IPL, that was the birth of T20 because in India woke up to T20 with the 2007 World Cup. And then
you miss a small bit, which I think was more crucial for Indian cricket
Which is?
than the World Cup and the IPL, or as important as the World
losing the 50 overs.
Cup. No,
Then?
it was winning the 2008 CB series in Australia.
You think?
100%, Cyrus. As in, that was the first tournament we won there, and it was the first time you saw an Indian team being as aggressive as an Australian team.
We won the World Series 85 under
Correct.
Sunil
And,
Gavaskar.
and that it was only after that series. That was the last series we won in Australia.
Correct.
And in 2008, that must have been 24, 25 years after that.
30 or almost 30.
Almost 30 years, yeah. So that was the first time an Indian team won a white ball series or a tournament in Australia. And that was a solid Australian side. And we took the attack to them. We were as aggressive, we were as intense, we were as dominating, and we took no bullshit from them. We didn't take any sledging lying down. We gave it back.
But you're
to
the
them.
big sledger.
Yeah, I was.
Tell us what would be the... tell us everything. What does it matter?
Oh man, I was annoying and pretty disrespectful to some of their senior
Also, your English
cricketers.
skills being very good.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
so I was pretty
they can't-
disrespectful to their...
To like, Hayden would get a sledge?
Yeah, he did, and he was one of my heroes. Like I drew a lot of inspiration from him. In fact, me walking down and playing the shot down the wicket was actually my inspiration was Haydos.
Is
and
it?
In fact, Haydos, I think was quite offended by me, and if I'm not wrong, as in. He didn't speak to me for a good 4-5 years.
Oh, come
after.
on.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. What did you say? About the missus?
No.
Then what? Wait,
No.
what?
So
how
basically,
personal?
he was sledging me during the 2007 World Cup, the semi-final.
West Indies Cup.
No.
The T20 Cup.
T20. In the World Cup, he was sledging me in the semi-finals.
But what light sledges?
No, proper sledges.
Abuse.
Yeah. Okay. And so UV and I were batting, and I was listening to all of it, and I was like, I'll wait for him to come to bat. Because I had experience, because growing up, Karnataka would go to Australia and play against the Australian emerging side.
IT money. Maharashtra के पास कुछ नहीं था.
No. Let's not go there.
Okay, go on.
You'll had all the
So
money.
so you experienced.
So I went there, and they would also come to Karnataka and play some cricket against us in the off seasons. And when they did come, they would be aggressive. and I would never like taking it. I would never like taking it quietly. I'd always kind of give it back to them. And one of the things I realized when I gave it back to them is when they got it back from us, they didn't know. They
weren't prepared.
They weren't prepared, and they wouldn't know
It's
how
like
to
the
respond.
bully doesn't know how to respond to someone
they
taking
wouldn't
them on.
respond.
Yeah.
And they would actually kind of like I would be able to dominate them after that.
There'd be no comeback.
No comeback.
Fuck you, you bastard. That's it. Google.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. I took the sledging from Hados and.
But what
Andrew
did he say?
Simons.
Tell us now. Little bit. Give us an idea if you don't want to use the bad words.
Talked about how crap you are, and you're
that
not,
way.
Yeah, like
Okay.
you're not
with
you're not
expletives
worth, yeah,
that you're a horrible cricketer.
You're not worth playing at this level, and so,
Wow.
like stuff like that.
But that can't bother you really.
It does, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it does to a certain
I get
extent.
told
Like,
that by my family.
No, your ego when you're playing, you're being competitive.
Yeah.
You have the bowler
The disrespect
sledging
kind of
you.
thing,
It's
yeah.
disrespectful,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're like, okay, fine. You take it, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to give it back to him.
Yeah.
And we decided that as a unit that if they sledge, we'll give it back to them. And then we already had the taste of UV's 6 sixes before that
Wow,
against
yeah.
After that Flintoff.
Stuart Broad lost his
that
voice on that day. Yeah.
That Flintoff brawl. So it was like we were going to take it on. Right? We'll give it on. And we were a young Indian side, and we wanted to be slightly different. So when Hados came into bat, I gave it to him.
Like what? Same?
Like same. I said a lot of things that were truly disrespectful.
Yeah.
And then in between, he got so perturbed. In between one of the overs, I was crossing, and while I was talking to him, I was sledging him and walking past him. Right? That's when you do it. You're away from the mic, and you meet them in the middle. So you slow down, walking past, walking past the middle part of the pitch.
Yeah.
You slow down to say a lot of things, and you like your hand
Cover
is
your-
here, and you say a lot of things. And then so I was doing all of that, and then in between, he got agitated, and he said something to the extent of, "I've been playing this game for over a decade now.
Yeah.
You got to respect me."
Yeah.
So
you got under his skin for
So
sure.
I started laughing.
Yeah.
And I finished the over. We finished the next over, and I came back and I said to him, "You know what?" I said, "You live under a rock, I think, because the last I've heard was that respect isn't demanded, it's earned." And then I saw his face become really small. And then he didn't say anything to me the rest of the game. And I kept going at him, and he didn't say anything to me. And then after that,
Oh, you shake hands at the end and all. You don't make
we
up.
shake hands, but it was just like,
So nobody says, "Hey, cool man, whatever."
No,
You don't make up.
No. So
I thought that's the fun
and then
part of it.
and then it took a while, I think. After which, I can't remember, because Hados played for
Subsequently,
Super Kings
he
as
wouldn't
well.
talk.
No, for a while.
It's like a love affair, bro. It's like
Yeah, he
the
wouldn't
chick
talk.
says, "Okay, I don't want to see you again."
And then I wrote to him once, because when I was trying to make a comeback into the Indian side, I was trying to work out a few things in my own game. I wrote to him once. I sent an email to him once, and I didn't get a response. And I felt, okay, maybe he's offended by what I said. I could be completely off the ball here, but I was like, maybe. But then maybe he's offended by what I said to him. But I met him recently, a couple of years ago, for broadcasting, and we got on famously. And especially after I played for CSK, he was like, "Oh, he's one of us now." And then.
But you don't bring up the little sledge fight.
It doesn't come up.
I can't believe they take it so seriously, because they sledge each other in domestic Australian cricket.
They do,
So what's the-
but again, they probably weren't used to listening
Indian
to some
team.
Indians,
Yeah. We've been
And then
quiet too long.
Yeah, and so when we went to Australia also, and so it was the same with Andrew Simons, the same with Ricky Ponting. When they came to India immediately after winning the World Cup, they'd come to India for a 5-match series, one-day series, and we lost that series. Sledge the heck out of these guys. I would as in, I don't know if I can say this on air, but I would say a lot of things there. In that series, I was feeling at Silly Point. Before the series even started, I said, if they abuse us, we'll abuse them back. We'll fight fire with fire and all. I said some crazy things. I was 21, I just won a World Cup. I felt invincible. I said a lot of stuff. And it actually added to my cricket. It gave me that sense of oomph,
I think it's,
that sense of confidence.
I don't know why people take it all so personally. I think a little bit of sledging should be fine.
Man,
Don't get too personal, so that at some point
you don't get personal.
Yeah,
you don't
talk about your cricket is not personal. It's about your cricket. Abusing you here and there, expletives. How does it matter? Don't bring your mother and father into it. We're fine.
Yeah, as long as you don't bring your families into it.
That's good.
And now listen, if we don't sledge on the field, we get enough sledging off the field. You go open X or you open.
That's true. Oh God,
we
my
get sledged
God.
quite a bit.
And
you don't have to do anything to get sledged.
And this country, 1.4 billion people are critics. Can you imagine?
We don't have to do
You don't
anything to
have
get
to.
sledged
You
right
don't.
now.
Okay, we'll run out of time. I want to quickly talk about this other aspect which I didn't know, but we checked it out, and I think you've spoken about it. This mental health issue. See how difficult it is as a spectator, and I'm a fan first, watching you bat, watching your career and all. You seem like this really happy-go-lucky, sort of, flamboyant cricketer. But there was this whole depression, and I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. But since you
Yeah, no,
have-
I speak about it because
Yeah.
I want to
So-
break the stigma attached to it, and I've been actively speaking about it since 2014, 15.
So
since
I
I-
have just one question: is this depression? Because this is the big thing that we don't understand, that some of us are depressed just because we're depressed, or is there's a reason?
No, it's a lot of unresolved issues that layer on top of each other, and you haven't addressed it the right way. And you kind of take your feelings for granted, especially men. We as men kind of live in a world where it's quite hard for us anyway.
Because we don't express, you're saying.
We don't express ourselves, and we don't talk about
And
stuff.
I'm
We
hardly a
don't
man because
process.
I express myself all the time.
We don't process emotions.
So you're saying
very
that
well.
the baggage piles up, is it?
Yeah, it kind of layers on top of each other, and you don't even acknowledge if something's right or wrong, or if everything's okay with you, and then you let enough time go by like that, and then we all have layers, right? Where everyone's got some form of. If you'd be very blessed if you live in a country like India and you don't have any baggage from your childhood, right? And we're today, I think, as parents, we're actively trying to.
So you're saying that all of
mitigate.
us have cases of,
All of us have.
but we don't deal with it. We don't. We don't face it.
Yeah, when it's unresolved and it's not dealt with, when it's not confronted, when it's not acknowledged, and you live in denial of it, or you live in, say, or in escapism of it, they kind of layer on top of each other, and they start manifesting in different parts of your life. One is it could manifest as a physical ailment, could be some form of cancer, it could be some form of illness, some back pain. So they say unforgiveness is stored in the back. So if you have unforgiveness, and if you have a lot of back pain, like especially lower back pain, you should check if you have unforgiveness.
Abhi, our cameraman.
I can see him sitting very straight, actually. So
you haven't let go, and so it comes into the back.
It manifests in different forms. It can manifest in
I have pain in an organ which I don't want to discuss openly. But could you specifically tell me what I've done wrong?
I'll need to know specifics then.
I just allow a lot of people to handle it.
Maybe don't.
Thank you, doctor. Robin style.
So a lot of unresolved issues kind of pile up, and then they kind of manifest either in physical ailments, or they'll manifest in your relationships. Could be your professional relationships, could be your personal relationships, could be romantic relationships. They begin to manifest.
So you were open with yourself in the sense that we aren't some men.
Yeah.
Or did somebody talk to you? How did you?
No, I just kind of. Like I got to a really dark place in my life where I was suicidal, where I was clinically depressed.
Sorry to ask this, but I can't understand that because you've been a pretty successful cricketer. I think at one time you were the highest paid,
second highest paid
in one of the, if I remember correctly, IPLs.
Yeah.
10 crores or something for the
Doesn't
time.
make a difference, yeah, Cyrus.
No, so I'm saying. So then, what was the upsetting factor?
I had a lot of issues growing up.
Okay, this is more childhood, is it?
Yeah, they were childhood based, and there were also current stuff going on and unresolved stuff.
Not
that
a
I was
big light with the
navigating.
traffic. That's
No,
always.
we didn't have those issues back then in
Yet,
Bangalore.
yeah.
Those issues hadn't begun to happen back.
But once you moved the airport, the trouble was starting.
Oh
They
yeah.
decided to put the airport in Kerala,
And then-
basically.
Yeah, and then they found one bottleneck that they made in the middle of the
Don't
city.
start. Let's get back
Anyway,
here. Huh.
so mom and dad had a tough marriage.
Oh, okay.
And growing up, we kind of grew up in the midst of that. And I'm not saying they didn't do their best. They did their absolute best for both my sister and I that they could. With the tools they had and with the skills they had, they did the best they could do for us. They went above and beyond when it came to supporting us with whatever we needed support with. But just their marriage individually with each other was not the greatest. And that always kind of played up in every aspect of our lives, and a lot of unresolved stuff was going on there, and that kind of added in it. And when you grow up in that kind of a volatile atmosphere, there are a lot of things that the volatility becomes normal for you.
Oops.
Up and down emotions
Yeah.
becomes normal to you. Because as a child, if that's what you've seen growing up, and that's what you've grown up in, that's your norm. And then so, without me knowing, I was volatile as a person. My moods were up and down.
Also, the cricket field and
of
in
course,
your
because
profession.
that was my one avenue of expression where I could be myself. And so I was what I was behaving, what I thought was normal, was mad to other people.
Sorry to ask this, but as a young Kurgi man, you're allowed a gun?
No, not.
You aren't.
I wasn't violent at all.
Yeah.
I just was very. I wasn't violent. I was never violent. But I was aggressive by nature. My batting was also
Short-tempered.
Yeah, short-tempered. I wasn't a good leader. I was someone who wanted to win, and I'd take it on myself, and I would expect everyone to meet the same standards. And I wasn't the leader who met people where they are and helped them elevate them to where they needed to be for the team to attain success. And good and great leaders actually do that. So growing up, I wasn't a good leader, and then and I still was, I was up and down, and I had a lot of issues, and so I was very moody as an individual, but also wanted to live a very happy life, and I was very aspiring as a youngster. I've always aspired to be the best that I can be the best cricketer, be the best son, be the best friend that I can be the best boyfriend, or whatever, right? But the up and down swings were a norm for me, and then I was going through life very unconsciously.
Without addressing all this.
And without even knowing that these were issues, right? And that need to be addressed, and because it wasn't normal, and and the aspirations was to have a very normal and great life, but I hadn't even known that there were things that were wrong, and then first to even know that okay, there's something wrong, and it's only when I was I found myself on. The first time I realized that something was wrong was in 2009. In 2008 is when I got dropped from the Indian team after the Asia Cup in 2008. And I knew that the IPL had just begun, so the competition is going to be a lot more. Then I have to work a lot harder because Yusuf and Suresh and all just came back. Suresh came back into the fray, and then Yusuf came into the fray in 2008 after an incredible IPL. So I knew that my competition as a finisher, because they were looking at me as a finisher, opener, I was like a floater up and down.
Yeah.
So in the 49, 50 games that I played for India in ODIs, every third innings I was in a different position. Also one of the reasons I couldn't secure myself into that side, because I left myself open to be used
Up and down, yeah.
But nonetheless, I got dropped, and then I had time between July and November. And at home, finances were always an issue within the marriage. And so I was like, okay, let me get into this whole thing and help them figure it out. And we'd just gotten money like we'd never gotten.
Correct.
Like my first IPL gig was 3.2 crores in 2008.
Wow.
That was massive money back then.
But that's rubbing it in now. They're in a podcast job.
I'm just saying it for context, guys. I don't mean to offend anybody.
Now everyone's
I'm sorry.
depressed. Robin, what have you done? Everyone's, guys, start drinking.
So we thought that, okay, a lot of that stuff will be mitigated, in that period of time. We'll resolve everything and focus completely on my comeback from November onwards, when the Ranji Trophy begins. And how those 4 months became 4 years, I don't even know. Because I got lost because I got into the details of their relationship and tried to resolve it. And I ended up becoming a really bitter person where I just changed. One of the things about me and growing up, and why I chose cricket, and as a team sport, I chose a team sport. Even though my parents made me play an individual sport first. They made me play tennis first.
Yeah.
But I picked cricket because I love the fact that you could bring 15 people together to achieve one common goal.
You have a little tribe working together.
Yeah, like a tribe, and you work as a team. And I love that I could add value to a team. And I went through a life experience where I recognized or realized what my purpose was in life at a very young age. So it was a very conscious decision to play a team sport because I want to add value, and I want to be a great team man. I want to help my teammates. I want to perform really well. I want to win matches for my team. That was genuinely the mindset I played cricket with. And to this day, that's how I play cricket. And for me, I want to serve my team. And if you look at my career, you will see mota, that's how I played my career. That's how my career has panned out even. I always put the team ahead of me, And in that time, one thing I saw was that I remember it was one Ranji Trophy match, and I was icked out of my own being at that point, where I'm like, yuck. That was in 2011 when that happened. And I went end of 2010 when that happened. I went the entire 2011 where I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't look at myself in my eye. I just detested myself because I saw my progress in the failure of my teammates within the sport. And I was like, that's not who I want to be. That is not who I am. And I couldn't get out of that rut. Like, I couldn't get out of bed. Everything just felt wrong. But if I have to rewind back a little bit, in 2009 is when I realized that something was wrong with me. I went to the 2009 IPL in South Africa, and then there was an episode where I found myself sitting off the windowsill of the 23rd floor of my room, and I'm someone who's absolutely scared of heights. So for me, it was like a thought went through my head where I thought you could end all this at the count of 3, and then I was like, then I think my conscious or subconscious mind kicked in and was like, what are you? And then suddenly I saw myself sitting there and I was like, I got scared. I'm like, why? How am I sitting here and why am I sitting here? Immediately got into my room, closed the window, called my mom up. As tenacious as things were at home, I called my mom up and said, I need you guys here. Something's wrong with me. I need you guys here. So I flew my parents and my sister down to South Africa, and they spent a couple of weeks with me, and they knew that something was wrong. And so they spent that time with me. And as soon as I got back, I had an aunt who unfortunately passed away with cancer a few years after that. So she was someone who's very, very special to me. And I adore her. Her name was Leela Auntie. I used to call her Leela Auntie. So Leela Auntie basically spoke to my mum, and they both felt that I should go to a counselor. And then that's when I first went to a counselor and then started seeking help. And that's when I realized that, man, there's something wrong. And 3 months of just working with this counselor. I got lucky, Cyrus. I met an absolute dream of a counselor in my first go. And she empowered me. And she asked me the right questions, made me ask myself the right questions, and kind of set me on course, right? And then I felt really empowered, so much so that my mum was like, something's off. You don't seem like you're I'm like, I'm actually much better than I have been in the last year or so. And once I started feeling empowered, the mistake I did was I stopped going to her. So I felt like I'm fine now.
Like it's a cure. There's no cure.
And then it's not about a cure. Like, you will get better, but it's not like an antibiotic course.
Yeah.
It's not like you finish
the course. You have to keep at it, right?
You have to keep at it.
No, even with the therapy or whatever you want to call it, you have to keep at it.
Yeah. So for you use them as and when you need them. Like, you have a good life coach or a good counselor, a good psychologist or a psychiatrist. Like, you need to find one good person. And it's like forming a relationship and finding a professional friend who is in your corner, will ask you the right questions. And I actually made a video as to how to find a good counselor. Like, what are the standards by which you find a good counselor? Because I found one, and I see a lot of people navigating through this whole aspect of trying to find counselors, and they don't find the right ones. And generally, good counselors, good life coaches, good psychologists are people who listen and don't offer you solutions, but actually ask you the right questions to help you figure out your own answers and empower you with the confidence to sort out your own life.
So basically almost talking to yourself.
Yeah.
They're just there.
They're just there,
Yeah.
asking you. And so the whole process of it, at least when I was going to it, my mom was like, let's not tell anyone you're going to a counselor.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And because at that point, the exposure to it was so less that if you went to a counselor or a
What's
mental
wrong
health,
with the guy and all,
a mental health expert, you were considered mad. You're considered something's off.
Nobody would do it up to maybe 10 years ago, I don't think, openly.
Yeah, nobody would. Yeah. And so the reason I speak about this so much, and especially with men, I talk about it so much, is because men die a lot more by suicide than women do. I'm sorry to
really
burst your
Where do you go from here?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, do I have a joke now?
Because we have a lot of unresolved issues, and we don't speak about stuff that easily. We're taught to be stoic. We are said boys don't cry.
We don't like unloading the way we're brought up.
And the thing is, yes, I understand why we don't do that, but I don't think that is what makes you a man. I think what makes you truly masculine is to actually have time and space for everything. There is time and space to be strong. There is time and space to be stoic. There is time and space to be in charge and lead. There is time and space. You have to create the time and space to be vulnerable. The amount of strength it takes to be stoic and strong and a leader and all of that strength is created here in vulnerability, because you unload here.
Yeah.
You create a vacuum of space and time to express your feelings, and then come back to being stoic, come back to being strong, because that's where you derive your strength from, and that's what true masculinity is. And I think there's we've gone to two different versions of masculinity now, which is in two extremes. It doesn't have to be this, but it doesn't have to be toxic also.
Correct.
Right? You have to find a happy medium. And the happy medium, it's like a seesaw, yeah? You go on one extreme, then you go on the other extreme, but the only way to find balance is in the middle. So find something that works for you, where you can express yourself whilst at the same time going back and being a man in a man's world.
I don't go to professional, but I have what is called an AEW. Anybody else's wife. So I just find myself more open with them for some reason. Is that wrong?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
But it
as long as it works for you.
it works for me. Doesn't work for the marriage so much.
No, then that's an issue. As long as you're clear about it.
Yeah.
I believe...
Well, now I've gone and mentioned it. It was okay till now. Okay, listen, Robin, we're running out of time, but thank you for being so open about everything. But I think that's part of your approach also.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, man. Just we've all got problems, yeah.
Just face up to it.
Face up to it, own up to it, stand up to it.
I think that really would be 50% of the issue, facing up to it and just,
honestly, people keep talking about log kya kahenge.
Yeah.
What will society... really, they don't really care.
And they don't care. Nobody really... I keep telling people...
see, today you're going through an issue, right? Say, for example, you're going through a court case.
Yeah.
I read about it, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, Cyrus is going through a court case.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, that's it.
I absolutely agree.
That's
You're spot on about that.
We've all got problems.
All worry about what other people are saying. Other people say whatever they say for 30 seconds and they move on.
Yeah. It's just a happy conversation for 30 seconds where they
time.
can gossip about
Killing
somebody.
time.
Yeah, that's it. And then it's done.
So what's the tattoo?
It's just I am.
Okay.
So I am basically is
part of the message to yourself?
It's an affirmation to myself. So I went through a 2-year journey after, started working on recovering from my clinical depression, and I was going through a transformation then. So I was like, I went through a personal transformation personal growth journey, where I wanted to earn my own self-respect as a person. I want to really become a man that had
in your own
values
eyes,
and principles, and someone that I could respect myself.
God, everything I'm not.
So I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, I love this guy. I love the guy I'm looking at right now. And I went through a 2-year journey where I earned my own self-respect. And when that journey was completed, when I felt like, okay, I really love this guy in the mirror, and he stands for something, he lives by his values and principles, I got this tattoo where it just says, I am.
It could cause confusion at the railway station or the airport, because people will think, 1 a.m., missed my flight. Have you ever thought of that? You just screw people to say, hey, bro.
I've had this for over 10 years now, and people have asked me, why 1 a.m.?
Yeah,
I'm like... It's I am in the Dark Knight Rises font, guys.
Well, is it? Oh, okay. There you go.
It looks like 1 a.m.
Okay, quickly, let's do the AMAs. We to do at least 2 questions. Harvespa, a big cricket fan, says, hello, Robin. How was your experience playing in the Hong Kong Cricket Sixes, which you mentioned many times? And your pick to win the Ranji title this season, because we're ongoing at the moment as we record this.
My pick to win the Ranji Trophy season?
Mumbai.
See, Mumbai is always going to be strong contenders, because they give the respect to the Ranji Trophy that it actually deserves, and I think it's because of the history that goes behind everything that Mumbai has achieved in the Ranji Trophy. And I think other states don't give it the value that it deserves, and even if they
Tamil Nadu has a pretty strong side.
They do
of late.
They do.
So I think the 3-4 contenders are there. Baroda.
Karnataka, Baroda, I would say Tamil Nadu for sure. I would say Bengal to a certain degree.
Shami is back.
Delhi maybe to a certain extent. I wouldn't
but
write
if you
off
pick
Vidarbha.
one at the moment?
I couldn't pick one.
Tough one? Okay.
It's tough, because it's momentum based as well.
All right.
Hong Kong Sixes I can talk about.
Yeah.
Hong Kong Sixes was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I've always wanted to play it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they played with new rules this year.
Okay.
So instead of 5 overs, it was 6 overs. And this time, no ball was not a free hit. No ball wasn't 2 runs. Wide wasn't 2 runs. I think there was a time when you would get 8 or 12 as well.
Yeah.
And that wasn't there. And we went without any bowlers that I had to bowl, dude. Like I bowled after 10 years. I can't tell you the aches
Pain?
and pains
Yeah.
I've had after that.
Yeah.
But
But it's a format that you must
But
like.
I'm going. I've told the organizers I have to come back 1 year. I have to win this tournament.
to learn Chinese medicine as well.
Yeah, and to learn Chinese medicine.
Two reasons. Yeah. Okay, Sunny is a big fan of yours. Big fan of you walking on the track and hitting sixes. You mentioned Haydos there. Is it your original development or who is the inspiration? You have mentioned Haydos,
Haydos
but
is the inspiration.
but is it a subconscious thing or you very consciously said, I want to do this? This
No,
intimidating walk.
Yeah, I
slow
wanted to
walk.
do it because at that point it wasn't something that a lot of batters used. Stepping out was something that Sachin Tendulkar would do. He would step out to fast bowlers.
Not the slow walk, only you and Haydos. I can't think of anyone else.
Stepping out, Sachin Tendulkar would do.
Yeah.
And walking down the wicket, only Haydos would do.
Yeah.
I didn't. There was not another batter. There was a Douglas Merilia who played
I remember
the
him.
ramp shot.
Yeah.
And so I was going to the T20 World Cup. I was like, and I wasn't playing that one-day series in the NatWest series just before that. The first 5 games I hadn't played. I was like, okay, I'm going to the World Cup. I got to go with 1 or 2 new shots and innovative shots. And I'm like, okay, I knew that there were 2 shots that I really drew inspiration from. One was Haydos's walking down
Straight
the
pick.
wicket,
Yeah.
walking down the wicket, and he would walk down and pull off the front foot.
Yeah.
And I was anyway someone who pulled off the front foot. So I was like, okay, so that is the shot that I can play. So if they bowl shot to me, because I'm not as big as
Yeah, but he's
Haydos.
6'3", so I'm
He's
presuming
6'5".
pulling off the 6'5", so he's pulling off the front
foot. So for me, I was like, I'm not as tall as him,
Yeah.
but I need to be prepared for that ball. So I kind of learnt it and practiced it over a period of time. In that time, I was in the UK, and I developed that shot. And then I was like, the other shot that I can develop is that the paddle. How to play the paddle. But I invested so much time in playing the walking shot that I hadn't mastered the paddle shot. Right? So I was like, okay, maybe there's a combination of the two that I can use, which was coming off more than the standing in trying to ramp. And so that's where I walked, and that paddle, that ramp came
Half
in.
flick, yeah.
So that's where that came in. And so kind of developed that shot, but Haydos was the inspiration. And
So do we call that version the Uthappa? It should have its name.
Anything.
Copyright. Man. Come on.
They call it the walking assassin shot. And
They do?
Yeah, that's
walking
what they call
assassin.
it.
I like that. But it's very Western. We have to
Yeah,
give
it's
a little
very
Indian
Western.
flavor.
Yeah.
Uthappa, because Robin is again Western. We have to go with Uthappa.
Yeah.
Did you have a pet name in the team?
Oh man, yeah. in the Ranji Trophy team when I first came into the side, J. Arun Kumar was the captain of the side. So he would call me Warthog. So he'd call me Watty. Because he said you're always charging the bowlers, you're always aggressive, and you're taking the attack, So he would call me Watty. Growing up, I was very big, so I'd be called Bonda for a long time. Didn't necessarily like that.
Indian dressing room?
Indian dressing room, Robbie.
It's just
Robs and
nothing
Robbie.
special.
No
name.
No.
Okay.
This one.
Huh?
Yeah, PC would call me Ghatotkaj because he felt like I looked like that character. Ghatotkaj.
My
because I was
God.
big.
That's a longer
Yeah.
nickname to have.
But
For
today
for
he's
a
become
short-
Ghatotkaj
Yeah,
now. So
Okay, we've got to stop here. We've gone way out of time, but Robin was talking so openly we couldn't stop. Thank you, Robin, for being with us. I know you're busy going somewhere else.
Thanks.
This is the new look, by the way. How many kilos down from?
I don't know. Yeah, I've stopped
7, 8?
counting right now. No, much more.
Much more.
Yeah, when we went to Dubai, I must have been in the close to the mid 90s. I must have been 94, 95.
Yeah.
I must be about 78, 80 now.
Oh my God, you're like Milind Soman. You're like a model now. You're just a little athletic figure. Unbelievable. You fit through the keyhole. Robin Uthappa.
No, I
Cheers.
don't fit through the keyhole, bro.
No, the masculinity will come out again. I have to be careful.
The
man.
Coogie in me will come out.
Yeah. No gun? Really no gun?
I don't like guns, yeah.
But you're allowed, you know that, right?
I'm allowed.
But you never know, yeah.
No, yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes the traffic, man.
I'd rather move countries than buy a gun and live in
That's just
India.
ridiculous. If it's true that you move out of the
Yeah,
city.
genuinely,
because of-
yeah.